to talk about the difference between the Four of Wands and the Hierophant. So I've been covering the decans, and we're just about finished with Aries season, which in the Minor Arcana is represented by the 2, the 3, and the 4 of Wands. And as a whole, Aries is represented in the Major Arcana by the Emperor. Right now, April 10th through 19th is represented by the 4 of Wands, and we're still in Aries. But on April 20th, we move into Taurus, which is represented by the Hierophant. And here we have this side-by-side portrait of the wedding and the marriage, the bond, what is actually represented by this vow that we take with another person. And this is very handy for me to use as a conversation starter because I've been just obsessed with romantic love all of my life. I don't know if it's the Libra in me, the girl in me, or the fact that love is the core of the universe, but I can't live a meaningful life without this, at least inside of myself, as a category of being. I need to know that my soul is engaged in some kind of like flirtation with God, if nobody else. And there's plenty of spiritual and religious material about like marriage between the human and God. And I'm conflicted because I have tried to make all of these experiences that I've had out to be attached to a person, which is unsustainable at this point for me. I've determined that I simply can't keep going with the framework of twin flames. I'm just done with it for now. And I've tried to talk about it a little bit, but I think that's all I want to say is that I'm done with it. It's never really been my true logic about this, is that like I have a twin flame. Just information kept appearing and evolving about twin flames, so I started feeling like I was being guided to believe this. Whatever. I don't do ideology at all. I do reality that's in front of me. So if it's spiritual phenomena that appears, or people and situations, like that's what I take as truth. I tend to not draw conclusions ever. If any, my conclusion is inconclusivity and evolution and safety and security within one's being as the way, versus trying to create stability so much on earth that you cease to evolve. And that's what most marriages have become now, as is just a party after which you sit on the couch together forever. I've never lasted long in relationships because we bring out the worst in each other. And I think love makes us feel so insecure. Gosh, I feel so out of the relationship loop. What happens when we fall in love? I forgot. I think we just get all excited and want to be happy, and we forget about the work that has to be done for this bond. You know? And I've always been ready for work. I'm ready to suit up and work. Just let's do it. What are we doing? Being stable? Okay, let's make the money. Let's get the shit taken care of. And I have not been met with any kind of similar eagerness, especially when it comes to like creating a family. I didn't think I'd have to get explicit about whether or not I want children. I'm a woman. And I think if you like life, you would like to multiply it. Like, that's my perspective as a natural being. Just human culture has become so, I won't say unnatural, because we are natural still, but we've become unchained from nature to such an extent, or the natural way of things, that I don't know. I feel non-belonging, just because I feel natural. Does that make sense? So yeah, for whatever reason, I kept selecting men who did not want children. And I have never thought of having children as a goal for myself. I've always felt that if I meet the right person and had the right situation, then obviously that's something that could happen. So I've always created the space for that potential, and the circumstances never came. And I'm not personally remorseful. Like, I don't have such a personal desire to have a child that I'm like, oh my God, my childbearing years have been wasted. There's still a window of time, and I believe that there's just a higher order to these things. I do believe that we create our own reality, but I believe that there's a lot of that process that has to remain subconscious and even higher conscious info only. Like, as we operate in the world, we only use like 5 to 10% of our brains, and that is for a reason, because things are being coordinated that we can't be privy to. It would mess everything up. And ultimately, we are not looking for certain events to happen to us or certain relationships to exist. We're always just in search of certain feelings. And my honest truth is that I've always been able to achieve the feelings that I want to achieve. As much as I want these things, true love, a family, to build upon this earth. Like, if we don't have the materials, the inner materials included, to do that and do it well, then that's okay. I'll wait for another opportunity or redirect the energies into other things. We have to be flexible like this, especially because the world really is just moving into a more feminine era of image and symbol, more so than logic and law and letters. I don't believe that this is a alphabet versus the goddess situation. I believe that the alphabet will be subsumed into the feminine future that we're moving into. So we're not going to lose any of our intellectual wealth or knowledge or information, but we're actually going to grow into it and use it in spiritual wisdom as the Hierophant commands. These two people are students. There's a reason this card does not look like a marriage card whatsoever. This is really the marriage of both purity and passion, and some have even posited that this may be a woman, the High Priestess, in drag, I guess. The creator of the tarot was a woman, Pamela Coleman Smith, and look at the similarities in the faces here. Her faces can be very distinct, and this really looks like an older version of the woman right here. We've definitely had an alphabet versus the goddess thing going on for quite a long time. But even in this situation, the goddess is like, we're gonna work together, bro. You can murder me life after life after life. You're not going to win because I am your mother and I love you unconditionally, and that's going to defeat all. I think there's even something here to the fact that, like, the high priestess often represents like sacred prostitution, the temple, and sexuality in the sublime. It's something that the alphabet world, the patriarchy, has, for good reason, been cautious about, I think. But sexuality, ultimately, being an inner process, like Kundalini awakening, it is highly sexual in nature, erotic, and it doesn't have anything to do with body parts at all. It is entirely this elevated state of ecstasy, eroticism, like that point where you, like, if you've done psychedelics and everything seems to be a sexual metaphor and it's funny, but Kundalini would be the more serious and psychologically integrating experience of this. Like, I think it's so wild that weed is just available everywhere here in Oklahoma, which is really a testament to how it's all about money, not morality. Oklahoma would have been one of the first states politically to reject cannabis, but we now have way more pot shops than mom and pop shops. Mom and pop are dead. The American dream, whatever that was, I think my grandparents lived it. They were married 64 years. They always were in business together. They did so many cool things together, and they never made too much money, which became the American way. The American way was never to get rich. It was to become stable and free, in charge of your own means of production, liberation to experiment, and start an emu ranch in retirement, which is what my grandparents did. Free to be wacky and weird. Free to be inauthentic and unnatural, artificial. Free to be dumb. Free to be ignorant. Free to be politically divisive, never-endingly. Free to turn into an oligarchy supported by the sale of weapons. Free to be enslaved by our superficial desires, not our real, deep, universe-supported desires, but, America. I think we all get it. We get what's going on here. There's no more truth to reveal necessarily. There are only changes to make because we are still free here. We have some weird combo of 1984 and Brave New World, but I think it leans toward Brave New World, where we're just choosing all the drugs instead of the work. And ironically, the work would make us feel so much better. I don't know what else to say. I don't even have anything to say about love because I'm so, like, yeah, I'm about here with it. Like, I just see me learning all this stuff. Study, study, study. Work, work, work. I don't know what happened to this. Is that past? Is that future? It doesn't really matter because most of the time I do feel really good. Inexplicably, because I know that I am one with all things and that I live forever, so it doesn't matter what I'm going through temporarily. because it will be better, and it will probably be worse too. What I really wish we could do is just somehow have some kind of like revelations thing with like loveless or love-ish convenience marriage. Like, I wish we could have some great awakening about romantic love where we realized that if we settled in any way or just decided to be with someone because it's better than not being with someone, or that we didn't want to die alone, which is silly because it's still 50-50, you're gonna die alone. Like if you're in a relationship that like maybe it's pure but it's not passionate, like there should just be some like grand sweeping divorce party where we just like made it super easy and maybe even free, because aren't divorces really expensive? I don't know. I was never going to marry unless I knew I had whatever this is all symbolizing. So, I don't know. I think people make the decision way too lightly. And we should be given a chance to renege on all of the vows. There's this card in this angelic lightwork deck called Vow Release, where you are released from any vows that you made from a state of, I guess, ignorance mostly. In the absence of full information, we make these huge decisions. We commit just for commitment's sake. And I understand that it makes life simple sometimes, or we just know we need to build something. But I don't know, man. I gotta hold out for the whole thing. Like, I need both students attending class, or mass, or whatever this is, or nobody eats cake. I just want to take love more seriously. If love is the core of the universe, why aren't we taking it more seriously? Why, when women take it seriously, do men just freak out and leave? But they also freak out if you're not just blindly loyal. Show me why I'm being loyal. What are you in this for? What's the range of your vision? Here in the United States, we are discouraged from asking questions. We are encouraged to draw premature conclusions. I don't know how it is elsewhere, but it's definitely how it is here. So yeah, I don't know. Enjoy springtime. I am just basking in the dumb sun, or well, it's making me dumb. I don't think it's dumb. I've just been listening to birds and watching bees and seeing those as perfectly innocent phenomena of nature. Paradise has been traded for a parking lot, and we have not been left the birds and the bees. We've been left jacking off to screens. Like, yeah, I have a requirement now. I'm not dating anyone who watches porn. I think I have more requirements than that, actually. I'm gonna make it damn near impossible. So, I don't even expect to have any more relationships in this lifetime. Well, that was a talk about love. The only bit I really want you to take from it is that love is the core of the universe. Whatever the hell or heaven or thing that's transcendent of both that means. Peace out.